Merry Christmas, my friend, and welcome to the 417th episode of the Sales Podcast. I'm Wes Schaefer, the Sales Whisperer, your host. Today we have CEO and entrepreneur Daniel Ramsey. Play, pause, do, grow. Daniel Ramsey explains on this episode he was checking his emails on his honeymoon, and his bartender shamed him into getting into balance. And that's what we get into today, how he made that happen. First for himself, and now how he helps CEOs and other executives do the same thing. On today's Monday call, so as part of the 30-Day Sales Group, every Monday, 10 a.m. Pacific, we get on a live Zoom call. And we go over things to hold you accountable. I'm recording this intro on Monday, December 16th, and did a big focus on goal planning. I'll link to this in the show notes, but I wrote a long blog post a couple years ago on the 12-week year and its importance, how it's helped me, how it can help you. But also in the group, in the workbook, I've got detailed notes on your own goal planning. I've written as well, why the big, hairy, audacious goals are probably holding you back. In Unit 4 of the 30-Day Sales Growth are multiple videos on how to pay yourself first, how to get your priorities in order for faith, family, fitness, finances, friends. And goal setting, goal planning, and sticking to it is hard. That's why there's so many books on it. That's why people focus so much on their New Year's resolutions, and that's why they don't hit them. I think they're unrealistic. I think people don't know how to plan. If you have New Year's resolutions you haven't looked at in 11 and a half months, then 30-Day Sales Growth is for you. Come join. You can join for a full year. You get access to all the past recordings, but the bigger thing is the weekly live interactive calls and your ability to ask questions every single day in the group and get them answered. That's how you grow. I was talking with one of the guys in the group. He's big on creating apps and things you can have on demand, and I'm all for that. I have all the videos, all of the content on multiple platforms. But I demonstrate how to do these things for free or for super low cost. We did more on LinkedIn, networking and prospecting, doing it right, doing it well. So that was part of what we covered today. But I also showed and how I do it for free. Of course, there are paid programs. There's always something you can throw money at to solve the problem. But rarely does that solve the problem the way that you need, because if you haven't identified the problem for real, then throwing money at it is going to mask the issue. Okay, it's going to hide the underlying cause. Yes, it might treat the symptom, but are you getting to the cause? I remember when my 15-year-old daughter, she turned 3 in the hospital. 15 days she spent in the hospital, 11 days with an undiagnosed ruptured appendix. They didn't know what it was. It was rare for little kids to get it, so they just weren't sure. They knew she had an infection. Every time they gave her antibiotics, things would get better. Her fever would go down. Her blood count would trend in the right direction. But then when they stopped giving it to her, everything would reverse. So they were masking the symptoms. They had to get in there and clean out that ruptured appendix. So, again, throwing money at things can help, but you need to understand what's going on in the business. So I went over, again, in detail, a couple of spreadsheets I've created, literally going back to 2006. And these things have evolved, but I get into what exactly is your job, what percentage of each function is the job, as a percentage of the whole. Because if you can measure it, you can improve it. And so having those numbers is one thing, but then having a plan to reach out and make the sales is what matters. Because then once those are documented and measured, now you can use that to scale. You can use that to hire new people. So that's just what we covered today. 30daysalesgrowth.com. There's a 1-year money-back guarantee. So come join, okay? Treat yourself to this. It's an end-of-year write-off. You can write off on your taxes, so everybody wins, all right? So now, after you do that, 30daysalesgrowth.com, come back and listen to this interview with Daniel Ramsey. Daniel Ramsey, all the way from Sacramento, fighting fires, even with no power. You are on the show, man. Welcome. How the heck are you?
I'm great, Wes. What an introduction.
What the heck is going on, huh? We could get political, but you know what? We'll save that for later. You are the man at myoutdesk.com. Is that correct?
That's it. That's what you got.
The gold standard for real estate virtual assistants. Now, before my listeners go, well, I'm not in real estate, let me hit delete on this episode. We need to bring this up. I mean, we're going to get into how you started this business and how people can leverage VAs. You got a little gift for them.
Yeah.
We talked about, and obviously you're expanding now into other industries, IT, HR, healthcare, blah, blah, blah. And so, we're not going to talk about just real estate virtual assistants. I want to talk about how you grew this business and why people need assistance. In a nutshell, how did you end up here?
Yeah, it's a great question. So let's talk about what every CEO or business owner cares about. And you ask them, what's your biggest challenge or issue? And 100% of the time, it's people. I need more salespeople. I need a better ops person. I need somebody to do customer experience. And if you're listening right now and you're thinking, I'd like to scale my business, we're going to today in the show introduce a brand new concept, what we call a blended model, where a portion of your team is physically in the US doing all the work, doing the sales stuff and the high value stuff. And then all of your delivery, all of your support is actually outsourced. So you have a blended model. And the reason that matters is, we've been outsourcing in the US since the 1970s. In fact, if you look at some of the major Fortune 500 companies, 70-80% of their workforce is out of the US. And yet in the small and medium-sized business space, most people don't even realize it's an op. So that's what we'll talk about today, Wes.
Well, that's just un-American, and that's just greedy businesses. That's just big pharma, big oil, big tobacco. I'm American, gosh darn it. I can't be outsourcing.
Yeah, I love that. I don't believe that people in the U.S. deserve a better life than anybody else in the rest of the world. And our one of the things that we focus on is giving opportunity and make impact in the world. And if you believe that our destinies are all intertwined, like I do, then this show is for you. We are right now raising the average person globally out of massive poverty. And we've been doing that in the last 30 or 40 years. And I think it's an important piece. And, I'm just a big fan of providing opportunity to people around the world.
Yeah, but man, you can't trust these overseas people. They're just going to steal your intellectual property. They're going to rip you off. They're going to hack into your bank account, steal all your domains, steal your credit card. I don't know if I can trust these people.
I love it. We're going right to the objections. Here's the beauty. You are correct. And that's why we exist. Sites like Upwork, for instance, they don't screen their people. We do an FBI grade background check on our folks. Wes, you'll be surprised about this. We actually do a physical, meaning our people go into a doctor and do a full-on physical prior to getting a job. We check their background. We verify their references. We verify the school that they went to and the college that they went to, that they actually got those grades. We put them on our tech platform so that they're, number one, they're working and they're actually on your website or in your CRM or doing your work and not online surfing and watching cat videos. So, you nailed our value add. You nailed exactly our value proposition. It is scary to do this for the first time. I know I was nervous 12 years ago when I tried it. And we've built a company serving over 5,000 entrepreneurs based on making it very secure and being your partner in this process.
Yeah. I mean, I've had an overseas VA, I don't even know now, at least since 2010, probably.
Yeah.
I've leveraged teams, to help me produce the podcast. And, in the military, I was, stationed overseas. I've had no problem, certainly no different problem than having Americans, and ultimately much less, literally in leveraging 15, 18 overseas VAs over the years. Like I've had one or two that were just not good and they weren't dishonest. They just weren't as good as I had hoped.
Yeah.
And, but one of them did cause a heck of a lot of problems because he was not using a secure connection, put a virus. He didn't put it, but he got hacked, and a virus got on my website. This was back when I had WordPress, and it was a mess.
Nightmare.
Oh my gosh. Nothing like logging into your website and it's white, right? Just a white screen. You talk about the blue screen of death in Microsoft. It's when you log into your website that makes all of your money for your family, and it's a white screen of death.
Yeah.
It is a screen of death.
We have a process for that. So part of the value add that we do is we log into their systems and verify, number one, that they have an up-to-date computer, they're using antivirus. They log on to our email, meaning they don't pull up their own email when they're working. We check their PC to make sure that, it is it doesn't have any stuff on it, right? And then the other piece is we help folks like you when you first start. What you don't want to do is give keys to the kingdom to a virtual assistant. You want to slowly work them in and make sure that they're competent. And so we help folks actually develop an entire plan for this. We call it a strategy session, and we go through, okay, what is your need? How is that going to impact your business? And what exactly are the tools required to do this particular job? And have you ever done this before? I mean, that's the other thing we get is folks are like, I want to write a blog. And you're like, okay, great. Have you ever done that before? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, here are all the tools that you need. Here are all the things that you have to have in place. And where are we going to get the content? So we'll really kind of focus strategically to help a business owner figure out what the steps are to make outsourcing work for them.
Gotcha. So, you're coaching them through this, not just taking their money and saying, here's a monkey at a keyboard. Good luck.
Right. Well, and we're also telling people no. I mean, we had close to 400 people raise their hand last month and say they'd like to hire a virtual assistant, and we only onboarded 75. So what happens is, we've done this, like I said at the beginning, 5,000 times. And what we've always found is there are certain recipes that work. I mean, there are certain job descriptions that totally are outsourceable. There are certain processes inside of a business that we can help with. And there's tools that you need. I mean, it's just hands down, you have to learn to do things differently when you have a blended model. So we'll set people up for success and walk them through everything that they need in order to be successful. And sometimes that means saying, hey, this isn't a good fit for us and for you. It wouldn't drive revenue. We always want to have a 3x return on the cost. So we focus on adding value, and that's it.
So you mean I can't just give you $5 and they'll screen scrape my competitor and do fulfillment through Amazon and email the world and make me $1 million by Christmas?
Yes, you can totally do that.
Nice.
I just want you to jump on our website real quick and we'll...
All right. Well, let me end this episode and go ahead and do that before everybody else, because then you'll start charging $6 once this really hits the airwaves, right?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, what you're actually asking is like, what should this cost us? And what we found is what we do is we help instantly scale growing companies with virtual assistants. Right now, unemployment's at 3%. Like, if you can think about this as a business owner, what's the hardest thing? Hiring another salesperson, getting a marketing coordinator, helping people. I need somebody to manage my database. Those positions right now are really hard to fill. And so we look for the opportunities that are 3x returns. Like, if you had one more salesperson, what would that do for your business? If you had one more marketing assistant and you could put out the blogs and put out all the content that you need, what would that do for your business? And so those are the kind of questions that we ask when you upfront hire so we can get a 3x return.
So can overseas people be salespeople?
You would say no. And I would say...
I'm not saying no. Why are you putting words in my mouth, man? That's just unsanitary. That ain't right.
I'm talking to the sales whisperer, so I'm very
You must have smoke in your eyes or in your lungs or in your brain. All right, I'm going to let you have a do-over on that.
Well, here's what I would say. They can facilitate 70 to 80% of the sales process. And that's exactly what we do for clients all day long. I mean, the reality is in any given day, we'll have 20 to 30 people raise their hand or comment or engage with my Outdesk. And, we do the initial call with a virtual assistant. So tell me about your needs, Wes. Tell me about your business. Where are you at? What are you trying to hire? And we'll kind of set up our salesperson with all the qualifying information, like what their revenue is, who's on their team, what tools they have, and what they need help with scaling. And once all that is compiled, then the virtual assistant puts it on our US-based sales team on their calendar so they can do a Zoom call like you and I are doing now. And so the follow-up calls, the initial call, all of the work of actually getting somebody in front of a screen and ready to actually do a consultation, all of that is done with a virtual assistant.
So are they working nights because they're speaking? Are they speaking with prospects, or is it all virtual, like chat?
Yeah, we do it all, man. I mean, our folks, you'll be surprised. I mean, and I know because you have some folks in your organization, but it's really hard for our clients to even tell. In fact, one time I got a thank you card from a client for our virtual assistant, and they mailed it to our office because they just didn't know that she wasn't in the U.S. And,
oh, wow.
So our people do, phone chat, text, email, manage our database, schedule appointments, follow up on leads. They fulfill once somebody raises their hand and says, I'm ready to hire. And we say, yes, you are. We put them into a process, and that's 100% facilitated by a virtual assistant. Mm-hmm. And so I like to tell people, copy us. Like, we're a large company. We've done this at a really high level. So we actually, part of our giveaway is a book that tells you exactly what to do and how to do it so that you can have success in virtual world.
And are these folks, like, if I have an assistant, is that person only working for me, or are they like in a pod? So if they have a vacation or whatever, illness, does somebody backfill them, or am I just like if I was at my own company, like they're out. So, we got to just all pick up the slack.
Yeah, it's just like that. In fact, so think of us like a marriage site, and there are a lot of sites out there. Fiverr is a great one. Upwork's a great one, where you can get a project-based person. And what we do is we add value by giving you a full-time virtual assistant. So they report to you every day. They log in and say, hey, what's up? I'm here. But that means they're not part of a pod. A lot of our clients actually look for backups for their physical U.S. people. And so our people typically will backfill a role in the U.S., and then that person gets kind of promoted to more important work, or they do the more client-facing or the more valuable stuff, and our folks come behind and take all the non-revenue generation or the stuff that has to happen that's important for the business but not vital to the survival or growth.
Right. So what's covered in this book? I mean, what do they get wrong with staffing? What do they need to do to get it right?
Oh my goodness. That's why we wrote the book. Actually, I'll try to boil it down. The very first thing is just being clear about expectations, and that's why we do our consultation. So we get something called an outcome-based focused consultation, where we say, are you trying to drive revenue? Are you trying to save money? Or do you need to buy some of your time back? So we always start with, what's the end goal? Like, what are you trying to accomplish here with your business? And then we focus on tools, like what are the right tools that you need in order to have a blended office. I have a great client. He's got 50 folks in his organization, very successful marketing company, and they run everything on a virtual team. So they literally, everybody's on a camera in different pools within his business, and everybody's on mute, but they're all there working. So he has a kind of a conferencing line that's virtual, that's like Zoom, where his entire office is on that line because he is 100% virtual. All of his people are gone, So we focus on the outcome first, then the tools, make sure that we can actually fill that role, because we do three things and three things only. Sales development reps help you in your sales process, marketing coordinators help you in your marketing process, and operations folks. So administrative assistants, operations folks. So those are the kind of the three steps that I would say that we cover in the book at a high level. And then, culture and how to work with folks in a different country and what it means to have a blended office, all those kind of details. And everybody that's listening right now, I'm making it really simple, but it's about 150 pages it's really good if you're thinking about actually doing that.
Right. Yeah. It's, what's the old adage? Like, business is wonderful, except for the clients, right? It's business is wonderful except for my staff. But our people are our most valuable asset, but then they just abuse their people. So, I mean, it's like, we're just crazy human beings, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, I'm certainly crazy.
So how'd you get into this?
Yeah, it's a great story. I mean, it's 2007, and my brother said, hey, we hired somebody from India. And I was like, wait, India? And I talked to the person, and they were horrible. Then we tried China, and that didn't work out very well. And then we found this gal in the Philippines. Her name was Lily, and she designed a business card for me. So I paid a U.S. company here in Northern California $1,000 to come up with some logos and some designs. We were going through a rebrand, and I really wanted to push, and we were trying to increase the quality of our brand, right? And I paid them $1,000, and she said, hey, Daniel, let me do this for free, and I'll just show you how good, I can, how great I am at marketing, and literally for free. And she said it took her 2 or 3 hours. She created a better logo and brand image than this company that I paid $1,000 for. And after that, Wes, I was hooked, and I was like, hey, do you have any friends? I want to get a bunch. And we ended up growing to 7 folks for my real estate practice. Went on my honeymoon in Guatemala, and you'll like this story because I'm in Guatemala in the rainforest at a Francis Ford Coppola's resort. Monkeys everywhere, just crawled through all these ruins, right? And every night I'm at the bar working while my wife wife of 2 days, like literally 2 days, is sleeping in our bungalow because she's exhausted. I'm exhausted too, but I had to continue to do work because I'm an entrepreneur, and I was the guy. I was like a helicopter delegator back then.
And this was 2007?
Got married in 2009. So
okay.
A couple years later. Yeah, after we had built some virtual assistants, and I was like, okay, this is working. This is helping us grow and scale. And then in 2009, the bartender takes my cell phone, literally takes my cell phone, takes some pictures of me, and starts making fun of me in Spanish. And I speak a little bit of Spanish, and I was like, okay, I know what you just said. And I think at that moment, I just had an epiphany. I had to change something about how my business was running. I needed a shift. And I got back for 2 years, really focused on this blended office concept, changed who I hired, changed how the processes and systems worked in our business. And then in 2011, my wife and I moved to South America for 6 months. So, and our businesses, we had 3 at the time, grew the most they've ever grown in that year.
You got out of the way.
Well, we started building systems and process. Yeah, we started building systems and process. We leveraged like crazy. I documented everything. We created videos. We created handbooks. I said, this is how I want you to serve our clients. And so we really went through a process where everything that we did had a guide attached to it. So there was no chance that anybody could not know exactly what. And so that really caused us some freedom.
Well, and what springs to mind though, for me, what I hear people saying, it's like the accountant that you see buried in paper. He's got his pencil in hand and manual calculator, and he's running the numbers. And it's like, dude, why don't you like run down to the freaking pharmacy? I mean, the 7-Eleven has calculators for sale. Why don't you buy yourself a calculator?
Right.
And he's like, I can't do that. I'm too busy adding up all these numbers.
Yep.
Right. And so you talk about documenting everything, creating these plans, and people are like, oh, that's all well and good, but I'm up at 5, I'm grinding till 11. I don't have time to document things. I'm just putting out fires. If I stop to write anything down, this whole thing's going to come crumbling down.
So that's my favorite part of our book. We have this process, and there's a lot of these little scaled accelerators. We have this process called play, pause, do. And I love that you said that, because right now you and I are on a Zoom and you can hit the little up arrow and share screens. So what I did back in 2009 and 10 was I actually created videos every time I had to do something. And then I just named those videos, and then I handed those videos to my virtual assistant and said, now write a checklist. And so now I have a recorded video of exactly the how, what, where, and why of doing a particular task. Then I had my virtual assistant document that in a checklist. And together with the checklist and the 3 to 5 videos that I created, now we had a fully documented process for our business, and we could build it into our CRM. We could build it into our business process. And those two things are the biggest scale accelerators you can do within a business as you're moving from an entrepreneur to an actual business owner. And that's
yeah, but man, that's real estate. That's so simple. That's been around for since the earth was cooling. I mean, so look, I'm in a high touch, complicated, complex, nuanced. No way can I take what I do. I'm irreplaceable.
Yeah. And there's some truth to that. But here's the reality, and we help people through this all the time, Wes. You have a certain special sauce, or the thing that only you can do. There are certain things, like I'm on a podcast right now. I own this business. We have 1,200 folks that work for My Outdesk. This is one of those things that I don't delegate, because it's talking about our vision, what we're doing, what's important. It's the thing that only I can do. Now, I could train somebody to do it, but they just would never understand our story, our values, our people, what our value proposition is. Like, somebody could do this for sure, but right now this is my highest and best use. Everything else literally can be delegated down in our business. Tonight I've got a nice jacket on because tonight I'm speaking in front of 150 people and talking about My Outdesk. And yet that's another thing that's hard to delegate. It's hard to have an employee on stage have that enthusiasm and speak from the heart. I can tell you right now, if you're listening to this, I know if you're growing, you've got a growing company, I know we can help you scale. I know talent is what you need to do it, and we are definitely going to be able to find a way to work together and get that 3x return. Speaking with that conviction it's challenging to get others to do that. So my point to your question, do what only you can do, and everything else delegate.
Well, I saw you walking in as you were adjusting your camera. I know you're wearing Speedos and flip-flops, so I appreciate you keeping the camera up high, man. So, I mean, because we do use this video. I would have had to just delete all of it. Would have been rough.
didn't know. I thought clothing was optional on your show.
Dude, shorts and flip-flops right here, man.
That's awesome.
It's so fun. I made a video for my 30-day sales growth just 2 weeks ago. And, we had these Santa Ana winds. I mean, it's freaking hot, man. And I got a nice shirt on, right? But I'm in shorts and it had gotten cool a little bit. So my feet were cold and I got these moccasins that my wife got, these moccasin slippers, right? And my dog's with me. And so I just make videos, man. I'm like, hey, y'all say hi to Maisie. And then as I uploaded the video, it's all done. Page is live. I go back and look. I'm like, I just scroll down. You see me in shorts and moccasins. Like, oh, well, I'll just leave it up.
Yeah. Real is good, man. Real is good. The other day, we just built a series called Build an Empire. And it talks about how to drive SEO and organic traffic to your website. And literally, I'm with a buddy and I'm like in my conference room and he's asking me questions. And I'm like, all right, dude, you've got to record this. And I'm just going to break it out on a whiteboard because he's growing a mortgage business. And so I was just like, here's how you do it. And I went on a whiteboard and it's one of the most popular things we put out because it's just real and raw. And so, sure. Yeah, that's how it goes.
Amen. Yeah, I love it. I mean, that's the key to grow, man. You gotta let go. At least you gotta know what to let go of, and most of it you can let go.
Yeah. Well, and also identify. This is the mistake that most people make when they hire, whether it's virtual or physical, is they haven't really thought through the really hyper important points within their business. Whether it's a sales thing, whether it's a service thing, there are moments that are key customer moments or key service moments that you just can't screw up as a business owner. And so I think the problem is people don't realize how much is in their head and not documented for others. And so that's the challenge as an entrepreneur. You have to slow down, document, and actually think about your process and make sure that, your people can do it, can serve your clients just exactly as you would serve them.
Yeah. Yep. Otherwise, you're probably at about your limit wherever you are, right?
That's right. And actually, that's exactly what we help people do. It's why it's Scale with Virtual Professionals, because most entrepreneurs come to us and say, I'm not going to the gym. I haven't seen my family and kids in 2 weeks and I'm miserable. And yet it's the best year of my life. And so we'll help them buy some time back. Or
it's the best year of their life. What do you mean, business wise?
Right. They're kicking butt,
but they have no life.
But they have no life, or they haven't been to the gym, or they're eating poor and they're gaining weight, and their health, or they're stressed constantly. And so what we do is we just help people slow down, consider what they need to do to double or grow their business, and then figure out who do you need to hire? Who's the person that's going to see entrepreneur? Here's the thing. Here's the mindset we all have. What do I need to do is our mindset. And that's what got us to this point. But at some point, what I need to do actually causes us to go over the edge, or, flatline, or have our sales stop or slow down. So the question isn't what do I need to do? It's who do I need to hire? And if you think of any billionaire guy that has hotel or buys sports franchises, they don't go, I'm going to go manage that hotel. They think, who do I need to hire in order to win that series, or in order to get the gold? They're always thinking leverage. And this is the biggest differentiator between people who are ultra wealthy and people who are just doing all right, is they think, what do I need to do versus who do I need to hire?
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm linking to your homepage here in the notes, and that is myoutdesk.com.
Yes, sir.
But you've got an SMS or a text that can opt in for the book?
Yeah. So if you're listening right now and any of this makes sense, what I'd like you to do is, first, this is a free offer. We're not going to, I actually, even if you never hire us, we want to make sure that you do it right. Meaning, I hate it when I hear people who, I've hired 12 people, 12 virtual assistants, they all didn't work out. That means 12 families you've disrupted, 12 times you've told somebody, oh, I'm going to give you a job, and then you said, never mind. And so the book is literally just a how to scale a business with virtual assistants. That's all it's meant to be. It's to drive impact in the world and make your business actually have this blended model where you get to focus on your clients and what really drove you to be an entrepreneur, and then figure out how to delegate. So all you have to do is text the letter S, or the letters SVP, so that's Sam Victor Paul, to 31996, and we'll give you a copy of that, an electronic copy. It's completely free. You don't have to buy it on Amazon or anything. And it literally will break down everything that we've just talked about, Wes. We have either a framework for, or a scale accelerator, and it's all in the book.
Right. All right. Well, I will text in as soon as we're done.
Yeah, good. You're gonna get a call from our people too, so you guys can test.
You better warn them. They better bring their A game, man. They better.
No, I want you to give me some feedback, man. I love it. In fact, I bet we'll blow your socks off. You'll be like, holy moly, this Daniel guy.
All right, we shall see. All right. Very cool. Well, man, stay out of the fires. Stay safe. Come visit us lowly Southern California people one day. All right. Maybe get your head out of the clouds. It's not all Sacramento. There's more to California than just that crazy capital city.
I think everybody in the world visits Southern California. I'm trying to keep your roads clear.
Yeah, that's true. But come to my county and buy some wine so we get better roads from the tax revenue. All right, man. Daniel Ramsey, thanks for coming to the show, man. It's been great. Do you think you need a blended staffing model with U.S.-based and overseas staff? Let me know in the comments or online on social media. Obviously, company's been doing this for a long time. I have had overseas staff for a long time. I leverage an overseas staff now. But I also have folks in the U.S. So it depends on what I'm looking for, what skills I'm looking for, what the customer service, the timely response, level of communication, things like that. It all matters. But if you are looking for this, check him out. Hit him up, see if he can help you. I'm happy to help you as well. I can introduce you to the teams that I have. They are for hire, so find the ones that you need. And apply. Like what Daniel says, slow down, think, document, get the magic out of your brain. That's what I talked about at the top of the show, getting the numbers out of your brain, putting them on a spreadsheet, because if you can measure it, you can improve it. So, but if you find yourself always working, especially on your honeymoon, you need some help, my friend. All right? So let us help you. And again, check out the 30daysalesgrowth.com. 1 year guarantee. Come hang out, ask, engage, learn, apply, and grow. And you will grow. And I put my money where my mouth is. All right. 30daysalesgrowth.com. Now I'm heading off to jiu-jitsu, and you need to go sell something.